Like I remember Giggs used to play against Micah Richards, and he used to go for 45, 50 minutes, 55 minutes. Micah, I won't really get much change out of him.
Yeah.
But the amount of times I come inside, or I'm outside, or I'm inside, and then when I get it, and I'm jinking left in and out, the lactic acid builds, and the concentration goes under. And the later stages of the game, I get my joy.
He's gone for lactic acid. It's always on the muscly boys, isn't it? The lactic kicks in a lot quicker.
Serious?
AJ acid.
When you've got too much muscle, brother, it's hard to stay long term. Right, do you want to start then, yeah? Hello and welcome to this episode of Rio Presents, guys. I'm Rio Ferdinand, and every week on this pod, I'll be getting stuck into some of the biggest stories with football friends, with football family, around this table. Some happy, some not so happy. Joel, you all right? You good? Well, I'm here with Joel, the usual. He's usually here, always here, unless he's on holiday. He's in all black today. He looks very, very depressed.
Funeral
and we've got one of my old teammates, former Chelsea player and coach, Jody Morris, in the house. What's going on, guys? You good?
Good morning.
Why did you look at me like that?
Well, no, it's true. I mean, although he said some happy, some not so happy, I don't think we've got much to be happy about.
We haven't. But some are more in the dumps.
Yeah, not as bad as.
So very briefly, can we touch on Arsenal, please? Obviously last week's pod, Patrice Evra was on, and he said Arsenal. It was a great quote, by the way. It went viral. His quote was, "Arsenal are like Netflix. You're always waiting for the next season."
Yeah, it wasn't a bad quote. Yeah.
He's had a few bad quotes. But that was one of his
that was a better one.
Yeah, that was
I think that's a classic now, You know, he's got some of them. I don't promote the violence, but someone needs a good slap. There's a few.
And a lot of them surround Arsenal, I've got to say.
He sent me a voice note saying, look, you see, now all the Arsenal fans, they don't like me because of you, Joe. And just kept
How are you feeling this week, Joe?
I was complaining to Jody on the weekend, if I'm honest. Just the result, really, innit? I felt like you can't say that the league's gone, but it does kind of feel like it's going to be hard for us to change a 7-point deficit when you look at this current team. I just don't know if we've got it in us, because we're going to have to go on a run that was better than last year and better than the season before. It feels
like 9 games and you're out of the title race already.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you got the Edu news, and is
he leaving immediately?
That's the thing. I'm not really sure because it's so fresh as we're reporting this. I don't know if they've announced it because it was going to come out anyway, or if it's at the end of the season. I just know that there was a good relationship with him and Mikel. Does that mean Mikel's going to go as well?
I think that's one of the things that you can say about Arsenal. Over the last few years, it looks very stable and looking to progress each year. I think that's a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come back to that later, yeah? Because we can't leave you without talking about that a bit more. I mean, getting a bit more depth to that. But,
guys, take it easy on me this week, man.
The big game this week was United versus Chelsea.
Boring.
Yeah, very boring. You're right, actually. I got a quote here from it. Frank Lampard, Man United are the worst pressing team in the league. Why are you laughing, bro? We just started the show. We didn't laugh at you at Arsenal.
I'm sorry. It just came
I
up.
think they have been, though.
Do you agree?
Listen, I think you can say that they're the worst in the, or Lamps can say they're the worst in the league because you expect so much more from a gigantic club. But for me, they've had a problem for a good 2 or 3 years as far as without the ball.
How do you coach that, though? You've coached at the top level at Chelsea. You've coached the best kids coming through academies. How do you get a team to press effectively?
There's so many different layers to pressing. For starters, I think you have to train in that manner. It would be a lot more helpful if you have a pre-season to go off. Obviously, if we'll talk about the new manager coming in soon. But as far as pressing, there's so much layers to it. I mean, you can
just give us the basic principles.
Yes. Well, listen. If you want to get after the ball, a lot of teams. Where I'm talking about layers and different levels to it is that a lot of teams class themselves as pressing teams, but they only really want to press from restarts. So you go, if there's a goal kick, a lot of the teams can then get in position, get higher up the pitch,
Newcastle
all set, ready to go from restarts as far as goal kicks, and also throw-ins. That's why a lot of the better teams, I think, want to get the ball in play when you get a throw-in, because it doesn't allow the opposition to get set, get compact and get over to ready to go from the off. But the best pressing teams, when you're looking at, I don't know, Liverpool under Klopp was amazing at pressing. You have to have... Yeah, I mean, you have to have fit players for starters. You have to have ones that are willing to run. You can get fit players that are willing to run, but also then don't have the tactical nous. And there's different ways where you go. You get midfielders that can come through up from a 10 position, so that will go and press as a 2 with the 9, or you get, like Liverpool under Klopp did a lot of the time, when the ball's transferring from one side of the pitch to the other, you get the opposite winger that would jump and go onto the second centre half, or a centre half, depending if they're playing 3 at the back. It's what we used to do a lot at Chelsea, and we was lucky that we had players like Willian and Pedro that could do it, and we also had Mason Mount that was phenomenal from pressing from the middle of the pitch.
Just talking about, because I've heard a lot of people say after this game at the weekend that Man United players don't want to run. They don't run enough. Then the intensity is not there. But I argue against that a little bit. I don't think it's through a lack of desire and a want to run for these United players. In this instance especially, I feel the structure of the team can also sometimes take the running out of you. If you can't get near anyone, I think that there's a stat I looked at yesterday after it. Neither one of the Man United wingers, Garnacho and Rashford, either made a tackle or an interception throughout the game. That can't be all just about effort. That's about structure as well. Distances between players and teams, enabling you to jump and press and win balls. If you're not set up properly, it's impossible. I don't care how fit you are or how fast you are. It's impossible to win the ball.
But
it's a bit of both, maybe.
But in saying that, when you want to start higher up the pitch, the triggers are usually from the forward players, whether it's instigated by a voice from behind. So when you've got somebody that tactically is excellent with their voice behind the front 3 that are ready to send them forward, that's great. But
Who was that at Chelsea when you was
there? You'd have loads. Mace was really good at it, but Jorginho, even though you could say that he maybe never had the legs at times to maybe cover the distance that like people like Kante could, tactically with his voice, he was very good. But it's once they beat that initial press a lot of the time, you then have to have players that are willing to then turn and compress from going back towards your own goal.
Backtrack.
Which, exactly. And then, so you look at Arsenal were very good at that. Saka is excellent at that. Martinelli's very good at that. Yeah. If you compare Saka and Rashford, you can't. Yeah. For what they do for the team. Why? Saka is on another planet compared to Rashford. Rashford, you don't see cover the ground like Saka. Isn't great in front of his fullback like Saka is. And also, Saka produces more going forward. For me, they're on different planets at the moment.
Right.
But
2 years ago, you would never have said that.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems that we all have about watching Rashford. Such a super talent and offers so much when he's on it that he doesn't produce regularly enough.
Why is that? You've been a manager, you've been a coach, right? Why is that? Why is no one getting the best out of Rashford?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that question managers or coaches regarding Rashford. I think we've got to start looking at himself. For me, you don't have the talent that the kids had, and how he's not even a kid anymore. He's been there for so long. Some of the body language stuff that you see on the pitch for me is poor, and for me, you can understand why managers have taken him out of games really quickly, not started him in games, because if he isn't producing the goals and the high level attacking play that we know that he's capable of, there's a lot of the stuff that he does that is not good enough for the team. And going back to the pressing point, if you've got one chink further up the pitch, the whole press can fall down.
Yeah, if Rashford or Garnacho
exactly, and it's like, again, going back to I think that you can have players that don't physically fit the profile. We was told when we was at Chelsea, particularly our first season, that you can't press with Giroud in the team. You can't press with Jorginho in the team. But you can if they're willing enough to run. And the amount of times that teams would break your first press, as long as Giroud was then able and willing to then drop in on the deepest midfielder, we was compact enough. I mean, you look at how gung-ho a little bit Liverpool were with Salah and Mane jumping from out wide towards the centre half. If you never had a Jordan Henderson behind to then go from the inside of the pitch out wide to fullbacks, and allows players to then get back in. If you don't have that, then your whole press is not worth anything.
Really?
And that's why it's so important that everybody has to be on the same page. And that is a coaching aspect. But you do have to have players that are tactically bright enough to do it, but also willing. And I think that's a problem in a lot of
ways. You can't carry play.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the pressing element, I remember they were saying that Ronaldo wasn't pressing and it was him breaking down the press. Does this debunk all of that chat beforehand? Because it was initially by Eric Ten Hag, right?
don't know if it debunks it, because obviously you don't know what Erik ten Hag's fundamentals are and that he's like non-negotiables are, because we've never had that kind of detail from him. Because you can look at it and go, well, he's given you so much there. Don't forget, there's 20 odd goals have come out of the team, by the way. United can't score goals, right? I guarantee you if Ronaldo's here this season, he's probably got about six goals.
Yeah,
he's got more than anyone else.
He would score more goals, and I agree with that point.
Yeah, but so there is sometimes where there are certain players that you can allow a little bit of leeway in terms of the press if their output elsewhere is going to be massive.
Exactly,
and that's where Ronaldo. That's where I didn't agree with about people saying Ronaldo don't press. Bruv, he's going for the golden boot, mate. So them goals are going to win you games. They're going to mean every other week's going to mean 3 points.
Yeah,
but the hindsight United lot of everybody, it's easy to say now about the Ronaldo stuff. He wasn't pressing. He wasn't. And if you wanted the club to move forward or where you wanted the team to go, I could see why you would say...
There's pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly. I could see why you'd say, look, we can't afford a Ronaldo at this moment in time, where we need to be, or where we... Like, if you look at Arteta, he gets Aubameyang.
Yeah.
He gets him out of the team, I think, because he weren't ready to do what Arteta was looking to do. Now, look at the progression that Arsenal made.
Non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Weakness.
I'm not sure that Erik ten Hag was a pressing coach anyway. I remember when we went up against him at Ajax, and we didn't feel that they was very much a...
Did you bully him?
No. We beat them away, and then we drew. Remember our game? It was like 5-5 or something at Stamford Bridge. It was a bit of a silly game, really. It was poor from a tactical aspect, but... enjoyable.
Let's push it forward. Like, obviously, Amorim's coming in. He's got to find a way of making this group of players look like they're capable of being a team. I think we've all said, everyone's always said when they look at this team, they've got no identity. They don't like a team. He needs to change that. Like, I think that's, if he's going to get any kudos going forward, if he can do that quickly and come in and go, right, I know how to coach. I can coach a team into a certain formation and a certain style of play, and they're going to get it quick and early without a pre-season, which is difficult. But also, I'm going to have a group of players who have looked like they can't press. They look like they haven't got the intention to go and do that and deliver that. And I'm going to change that on his head and flip that. Now, we've seen Maresca go into Chelsea. He tweaked a few things. Everyone thought he couldn't do that. That place was in disarray. Seemed to have got a bit of stability in the place. Tuchel went in before. I think one of the key, we got an interview coming up with Jorginho soon, where he speaks about Tuchel coming in after you guys was coaching, and just said he only tweaked a number of little things individually, but also as a team. Didn't go crazy. They ended up going and winning what they won, the Champions League. So what things do you see as a coach he needs to really address quickly?
I suppose the good thing about him not coming in straight away is that he gets an opportunity to watch a lot of video, see what he likes from the outside as far as performance. I know Tuchel had an analytical company that he used quite a bit of regarding what our team looked like and what he thought was the best way to formation to play and what they needed to improve on. So he'll be doing that. But I think that the main thing would be sorting out what he thinks is the system that will suit the players that he has right now. I know that he plays a certain way in Sporting.
Is that what you have to do, Joe? Do you have to comply to the players that you have there? Is that what managers do, or is it, you know, this is what I do, and you guys fit in?
Yeah, but I think that's a lot easier when you have a pre-season. I think if you're coming into a team now, he might say, look, I want to play this way, but the centre halves I've got, if I want to play with 3 at the back, I don't believe that the centre halves I've got is good enough. I mean, you could argue. You might have fullbacks that may have to go and play in the side of a 3, which I don't know. We had, if you remember what Azpilicueta done under Conte, where he went in. I think that there's an element that he needs to look at the players that would maybe complement each other, like as far as partnerships are concerned.
He's got to go in and find out either they've been coached terribly by Ten Hag, and where you look at it and go, okay, is it poor communication from the coaching staff and the manager? Is it unclear messaging? Is it poor discipline from him and in gatekeeping inside the place to create the right environment? Or is it that these players are totally uncoachable, maybe arrogant to a point, so won't take in any type of information or coaching that's given to him? I think he needs to find that out immediately the day he walks into that club.
Yeah, and also there's an element of the false pretense of when you first walk through the door, everybody's going to be all ears, all eyes, all ready to go. I think
Hi, Gaffer.
Yeah, exactly. The proper test will come once you've been in there for a while and you start getting maybe a bit of a shape of who's your main players, who you're going to be playing. Then you'll see what it's like. I mean, and listen, we can't judge the manager instantly, I don't think anyway, because when you're picking up the pieces of what's been going on. But again, like you said, if you can get a manager that can turn around a team that's been in a bit of disarray quickly, it gets a lovely little boost and a little platform to build from.
So my question is it, do you reckon he's got a bigger task going in there than what Maresca had when he went in?
Yeah, because
Man United,
if you look at
Wait.
all right.
Wait.
No, but
Wait. What does that mean?
I can't believe there's any pushback.
No. I'm asking. What does that mean?
Chelsea right there said, "Yeah, all right."
No. But you interrupted and you went, "Man United."
It's Man United, bro.
But,
beast.
yeah,
but let's break. Let's break
yeah.
down. All right.
Different.
Yeah, 13th. There's a lot of work to do. I know.
Like a mansion and a one bed.
Yeah, no.
Arsenal.
Nah.
did you just call Chelsea a one bed there?
No, Arsenal. And Chelsea. Yeah. It's a one bed apartment, bro.
Okay, no. Let's break it down first because he had like 40-something players to deal with, right? New ownership.
A lot of this stuff about 40-something players to deal with was a little bit overcooked because a load of them weren't training with the first team. A load of them was in another little group training on their own. They weren't with the reserves or the young academy. They was with the loan groups that like Ed Brand was taking for training. And also, you've got to remember that Chelsea finished the season really, really well the year before. I think they won the last 6, was it, or something like that? What, last 5 or something? So the players were a little bit more embedded into the football club.
We talk about Pochettino's team.
Under Pochettino's.
Okay.
And also, a good thing that Maresca has had is that the players are fit. And when Pochettino was there, the amount of injuries that Chelsea had was phenomenal. So he had a fit group of players and players that are a little bit more into their tenure as well, which I think helps a manager. But you then got to say that Maresca deserves credit for the team shaping up a little bit better than I think they did at the beginning of the season before. And they look a massive threat going forward, but I still think that we're not looking great defensively, and I think we look very open. But as far as the task going into Man United, I think Chelsea are a little bit further forward in their progression, which obviously Maresca has played a part in. But I think that they were further forward than Man United anyway. But you can't argue with the start that Man United have had. It's disastrous, really.
Oh, this is a job of like gigantic kind of meaning for anybody going in there. What he's got to deal with, just the press interest, the size of the club, the expectations, the history, and the fact it's the Premier League's worst start for Man United ever.
And also, I think as well, you've got to remember the weight that's coming on the manager's shoulders as well. All right, he's done great in Sporting Lisbon, but if you're talking about one beds and mansions, that league and that country for football, he's done great over there. That is incomparable to the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, you even look at Jose when he come from Porto.
He at least won the Champions
was making
League.
A massive step up still, but he come off the back of producing in that country, but also producing in Europe. And one of the things that helped, I think, Jose be such a huge success was his character.
He owned it straight away.
I mean, from the first press conference. Now, I think that one of the things I think people talk about the new manager coming in, is that he has character and personality, which you can argue there wasn't much of that previously. So I think that's going to be just as important as his tactical now. So can he take the weight of the Man United and the Premier League on his shoulders as well?
And that's a great segue. I've spoken to a few people behind the scenes at Manchester United, and that is the first thing that every one of the people that I spoke to said. The charisma that this guy has is exactly what you'd expect of a Man United manager. And I do think, I agree, that is where Erik ten Hag was lacking, I think, in charisma and having people skills. And I always think about this today. If I was to ever go into coaching, one of my things that I would say I would lean on more than anything is my people skills, being able to communicate. And I think in today's game more than ever, that is so vital for a manager, being able to communicate, keep different generations, different cultures on board. Is so different to today. Yes, the tactical element is huge, But as huge, and if not even more kind of powerful today, I think, is being able to keep all these guys who all think they're superstars, who all think they should play, all internationals, happy.
But commute. Sorry, Joe.
I've heard it all before. Though.
What?
I've heard it all before.
What do you mean?
Oh yeah, charisma. This when Eric Ten Hag first came in, everyone was raving about the discipline and who he is as a person.
That's not charisma.
Jose Mourinho, he had it, didn't he? It all went wrong. You guys, besides Louis van Gaal and Moyes as well in the beginning, like you guys have had people where you've fallen in love with their character. Even Ragnick when he came in first, everyone was giving it that he's a philosophy guy. I just think the media has been really good at hyping up a manager beforehand, and then you give it 18 months down the line, and then we see a man like
no one's hyping. Well, I don't know the brother.
I disagree with the media probably was, but me from the outside was automatically looking at some of those appointments going, not having that. Now, even with this one, I'm still a little bit like, from going from Sporting Lisbon to Man United is a huge jump, but they do say that as far as when you're talking about communicating to players, I think how you communicate to the media and how you communicate to your fans is just as important, because you want to see your club reflected in a way from the leader that's always addressing the public, always addressing the media. They need to deliver that in a way that is easier to absorb. Yeah. And they do say, I know it's early days, they do say that his press conferences in Portugal is one of the highlights of the week.
Yeah, they got one. He's got his own page, bro. Just waiting for press conferences to come out, because he just drops nuggets. Watch, they're going to drop on your head.
Well, that's why I rate. That's why I rate Onslaught and Maresca. I think they've come in this season, and when you look at their press conferences,
Postecoglou, mate.
Yeah,
bruv.
Yeah.
Clubs will take him just on the back of his press conferences. Forget what he does on the training pitch. The press conferences alone, I'm having him.
Yeah.
But let's move forward, and we're going to keep coming back to Man United because it's the size of the club. But last week, man, a lot of the chats in the groups, a lot of people weren't happy. Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, I just think
Rodri, what are you saying?
Boring,
Joe?
Man. Like absolutely.
Why?
Boring.
Explain that, please.
Because at the same time you got Vini, who's out here, deciding matches, scoring all the big games, scoring in Champions League finals, really making a huge difference. You can see the style, everything. And
don't use the words huge difference. And
he was making a huge difference.
You
can see now how they look now that Mbappe's there.
If you're downplaying Rodri's huge difference,
I'm not. But they can do just as well without Rodri.
No, they can't.
Whoa.
No, they can't.
That is a mad statement.
No, they can't.
It's a wild statement. I was with you for a bit of that. Joel. That's a wild statement. I've actually gone on record to say...
Is it too late to take it back?
No, I've gone on record to say that I think Rodri is the most valuable player to any team in the Premier League.
Agreed.
Right?
You know what?
They could lose Haaland, they still score on bang goals. Played without a 9 for a year and won the league.
A couple of years,
won the league,
Yeah, that was a bad shot.
Without him, the record is horrendous.
I got carried away. No, I got carried away. That was a bad shot.
But the shout boring is, you can't use the words boring when you're talking about, for me, the best midfielder in the world, right? What more genius can you get than controlling a football game? What more genius can you get?
Jody, you played there. You have a different view of it because that's your sacred position.
I absolutely love attacking
flair
players.
No, you don't. Otherwise, you would have said Vini.
What are you talking about?
Otherwise, you would have said Vini.
I wouldn't have. I think you've just got to go. Listen, if Vinicius Junior wins it, I still don't sit there and go, "Oh, Rodri was robbed." But to hear the outburst of all these imbeciles about
Rory?
Rory. Exactly.
Yeah.
And listen, I love Rory.
I
love Rory
as well.
He supports the right team, but Scholes was bang on with that comment, and he's right. To the uneducated eye, that's how you'd feel. But if you like football and you understand the beauty of the game,
if you like football
and you understand the beauty of the game,
the details,
you would know that Rodri is, like you said, beautiful.
I'm not excited as much as I love Modric. I really thought Ronaldo should have won it that year. When he won it, I was a bit like,
that year, but
when you look at when Cannavaro won it, you said it yourself. It's a bit like, I didn't really.
I agree.
This year as well, the excitement that I saw Vini bring, I thought to myself, yes, fair enough, he didn't do too well for Brazil.
I'm not even sure he was Real Madrid's best player last year. Who won La Liga Player of the Year? Jude
Bellingham.
Yeah, but Jude went missing a little bit in the big games.
At the end, which
is where
great.
it counts, right?
And then when you go, what about what Rodri done for Spain?
Let me just read Paul Scholes' quote. It's a good quote, actually. Paul Scholes said, Rodri is a better footballer than Vinicius. Vinicius will probably win you more games and be more skillful, but I think Rodri is a beautiful footballer. The Ballon d'Or is a victory for all midfielders.
Absolutely,
but that's all it is.
Spot on.
Yeah, but how are you going to compare the two, Rodri and Vini? That's like comparing you two. It don't make no sense.
What do you mean?
How are you going to compare Rodri footballing ability? One's a forward.
No, but it's
but that's what I'm saying. The fact that you don't understand that says everything. No, it's true. It's because you can play a different position and still be spoken about as being a beautiful footballer. Just because you play in midfield doesn't mean that you can't be a beautiful footballer.
No, he said one's a better footballer than the other. Come on. That's not a good comparison. Sorry, Jody.
Well, if you're talking about skills, maybe not.
There's different attributes.
Can he pass like Rodri? Can he tactically do what Rodri does? No. Is he physically as good as Rodri winning the ball back? No.
So you're telling me that Vini doesn't take instructions tactically, or not as good as Rodri?
Well, I'd say nowhere near as good as Rodri.
Bro, honestly, there's two different positions. Seriously, that's my argument.
Exactly.
I don't think the comparison. I don't think it's a great comparison.
No, but you have to.
No, but you still have to validate what other parts of people's games.
Yeah, but
you can't just ignore the fact that.
No, because you're taking my comparison of their positions as if I'm downplaying Rodri. I'm just saying that there's two different elements that they focus on. So how are you comparing the two?
No, but it's like.
So why can't Rodri's attributes come under beautiful football?
I didn't say they can't come under beautiful.
What are you arguing about then?
Because I don't think it's a good comparison of the two positions.
No. What I see with these guys when I look at it, because I was going like, when I first heard it, I was going, Rodri wins it. Great player. The best midfielder in the world. The most complete. But I was looking at it and going like, I want the Ballon d'Or to be the guy that excites me most. But this is just my personal thing, yeah? A lot of other people's is different. My Ballon d'Or winner, I want it to be the guy that makes me go, oh my God. Start on my phone like this, texting all WhatsApp groups. Rodri's never going to get me to do that, right? Yeah. He might get me to do that with a goal every now and again, but he ain't going to regularly. Vinicius does that, right? Yeah. That's why I was leaning towards him, because I want excitement, I want fairy tale, I want imagination, I want moments.
I agree with that.
But what I would say is that Rodri gets me leaving a game going, bro, did you see the way he controlled that game? Did you see the way that he was like a man against boy? Did you see it was like Pep on the pitch? Did you see the way that he made sure the tempo of the game went to the way he wanted it? Do you see how much time he protected he's the guy that is probably one of the most efficient footballers around, right? And I respect that and I love it. But me, I want the Ballon d'Or to come in a shiny suit, pick it up, gold tooth, and spin out and go to a dance and go to a club and that. That's what I want. I want the guy. I want him to be the razzmatazz. I want him to be the man that lights up the dance.
I know what you mean about like the moments in games. You can get that, but for me, football is not just about that.
And I know that.
It's not just about
I'm living fairy tale land.
And I'd go. When you're talking, the word robbed is pathetic.
No one is.
That's a boring.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not boring.
It is boring. It is boring.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
it's not razzmatazz, is it?
No, it's not razzmatazz. I'm somewhere in the middle here, by the way.
Rio, that fence is disappointing. I
appreciate and respect what Rodri,
which we all do.
But like I'm saying, at the award ceremony, I was like, I want. Like you look at the game now. Does it mean that we're now? As the game become more systematic and
but you said it, football's dead now, bruv.
Is it? It's not dead,
what? Because he said it.
No, but he's got a point though. All right.
Yeah. Shots are getting
all right.
Patrice, you better come back with a response.
But like, listen, I can understand what sometimes people can say that they're watching a game and they're not seeing it's so end to end and it's so open. But then I think that there's elements of the game now that are far more advanced than when we were playing.
Yeah.
Far more advanced.
It's more intricate.
Exactly. And also, what they have, what players have as far as visuals and the analytics and the help that they get as far as being set up right, I don't think you've got any excuses that if you're not prepared. And if you're looking about the games about robotic and systems, you go, well, yeah, because teams are a lot more prepared to stop the opposition.
Rodri, just to finish this point, Rodri, I don't think anyone can say that he robbed this award.
No chance.
I think he deserves it because of what he is and what he means to his team, yeah, and what he's achieved, right? But I want to see Lamine Yamal's up there. I want to see a
He's got to
firing.
do a bit more than.
I want to see a firing. But this is what I want to see in the future. I want to see a firing Mbappe, a Vinicius. I want to see these guys, Cole Palmers of this world. I want to see that these guys going up there.
If they would have produced a bit more, they would have probably got it.
I know, but that's what I want to go to the
Vinny
awards
didn't
for.
produce
No,
enough.
I thought if he would have won it, I wouldn't have sat here going, Rodri's been robbed. I would have liked it.
Yeah,
I love Vinicius Junior.
If Vinicius won it, he
Listen,
deserved
were we not,
it.
were we not
I
all
think
shocked
if
as
you-
well? Were we not all shocked?
I wasn't shocked.
Seriously?
No, I
was.
wasn't shocked
I was.
as in. I wasn't shocked as in. Oh, why not? When I saw, listen, you look at Vini Junior's season, right? You go, he's produced in the big game like the Champions League and all that. Poor for Brazil. His numbers comparable to previous winners when you're talking about Lionel Messi and all that. I think if you look at more goals and assists,
you can't put
there's a list.
Again with the comparisons,
there's a
Jody.
all right then. Let's compare him
over there.
Shush.
Come
let's,
on.
let's compare him to the, let's compare him to the list of players that scored more goals and assists than him in all over the leagues. Then let's compare him to that.
No, but sometimes it's impact as
Exactly.
well.
No,
Sometimes
exactly,
impact.
but
You talk about tactical
okay.
stuff. It's not always about the one thing,
No,
though, is
exactly. But if that's your
Big
position,
games.
if that's where you are, yeah, brilliant in the
Big
Champions
games.
League. He should have done a few more for
He won
Brazil
the
then,
league.
shouldn't he?
He
Yeah, he
won
should
the
have
league.
done what Brazil. What did Brazil
No,
do in
no,
Copa?
yeah, but-
Like he should do more for Brazil then. Like Rodri did more for Spain. Probably got him over the edge.
Vinicius, I just want him to win it, man. I love him.
I do as well. I wanted to
just
win.
think
I
he's
think
so
the
bad.
way he's played for the I'm going over the top here because
And the
I
stick
I
he
love
gets as
Rodri.
well in them stadiums.
Yeah,
in
he
Spain.
does.
Them people need slaps.
He's
Big slaps.
a great player, and
Big ones.
I also like to. I'd like him to win just for what he's done for the past 3 years. I think
Yeah.
he's
Been
carried a
immense.
Real Madrid team.
Yeah.
True,
No,
Cristiano left. My man stepped up.
It's true, you know, and that's
Benzema
not easy
left.
either.
My
No,
man
true.
stepped
Yeah,
up.
that's
and
very
you think
difficult.
at Real Madrid to do
on.
that, and we talk about Man United being massive. Real Madrid just behind them.
Yeah. What?
I said,
I was
yeah.
like, what?
Some of our favourite discussions this season have come from like the listeners, subscribers, getting in touch with the show. Make sure, guys, you use the hashtag #AskRio on socials, or if you send us a little email, Joel and the team are behind the scenes. It's probably more likely to get through to the right person. But the fans' questions have been some of the best parts of Joel. Go on, I'll let you.
Yeah,
roll.
I don't like the negative Arsenal comments that we're getting, by the way. Let's make sure that
From
the
who?
Ask Rio questions, let's keep it positive, guys. Otherwise, they're not coming through. How about that?
It's your attitude.
Yeah. Finn Wood has sent this question into our email address, which is fanfirst@rioferdinandpresents.com. Do you think the game has gone robotic? If not, which players still have that flair or magic?
I don't know if robotic's the word. I think it's systematic. I think systems override individuals now.
Yeah.
And I think to give it a good example, I don't think Cole Palmer does what he's doing at Chelsea at City.
Agreed.
Because the system's so important at City. It's so important and fundamental in them winning. I don't think it was like, it's different player, different stratosphere, I know. But when Pep was at Barcelona, the system was so huge and important. But within that, you had a Messi who was able to do something that no one could even coach or teach. But unless you've got that player in that system with Pep especially, everyone's got to just adhere to the system there with what's going on.
I'll take your point, and I think it's right to a degree, but I also think that the other side of the coin you have to look at is the way teams set up against the best teams. So at Chelsea, nobody's setting up against Chelsea last year or the year before or this season so far, setting up against Chelsea like they would against Man City. So what you have to break down, if you're a Man City player, although you've got fantastic footballers and dominating the majority of games, what you have to break down is the whole team 30 yards from their own goal, which is a lot different and a lot less space to operate in. Whereas a Cole Palmer for Chelsea at the moment, at this present time where Chelsea are, no people are going to play against Chelsea and believing they can beat them. So the game's a lot more open, and the room that Cole Palmer's got to operate in is a lot different than what he would get if he played for Man City.
All right, I'll throw back to when we played. Teams would sit at Old Trafford, edge of the box, two banks of four, or 4 and a 5, or 5 and a 4, and say break us down. And we had man out wide saying 1v1, let's go. And then that was it, boom. Get someone 1v1 or an overlap, whatever, a bit of skill, boom. And a moment of that. That's what I paid to watch football. That's what I turn on my TV on a Sunday and sit on the sofa, my back hurting, and I want joy. And then moments when someone goes, right, face me up, boom, 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 see you later. And that's what the WhatsApp groups go mad for now, all viral, because that, and we're not seeing that enough.
Do you agree, though?
I think that the game was still a lot more open.
No, I definitely take that. It's a lot more open, so you're getting more. But
even teams that
they're more organised.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, miles more organised, and like I said, like condensing the pitch a lot better than what they used to do, a lot better than what teams would do. And it's not necessarily what they're doing from a defensive aspect that is always the difference. Sometimes it's just the fact that they believe that they can attack the opposition. So when I'm talking about Chelsea having a little bit more room to operate in, it's not necessarily because the team's defending super deep not defending super deep and pressing high up the pitch. It's because they actually have more opportunities to break Chelsea down, that when they do turn the ball over, they're a lot more open. Whereas you don't get as many teams attacking Man City. Well, usually they've been a little bit more open this year, but you don't get as many teams attacking Man City, have attacking spells during them games that then allow Man City to then turn the ball over, and then there's a whole heap of space where I think when teams are getting at you, when the ball turns over, there's a lot more room to operate, and Chelsea are doing that quite well under Maresca.
Are players better now, or when we were playing?
I think the average player now is a lot better than when we was around. I think the style of football is a lot different. I mean, even in the teams that I played in, they all used to, under like sort of Hoddle, Hullet, Vialli, people used to call it sexy football at Chelsea. And I look back at some of those games when there's like reruns and stuff like that, and I look and I go, if they was playing now, they'd be classed as a long ball team. The demands on players now, having to play out from the back, what defenders have to do now compared to what they. If you was a fullback when I was playing, fullbacks opened up and just booted up the pitch.
Like,
what players have to do now as far as a defender and attacker? You look at. I think the high level players back in the day are still would be high level player today. The type of footballers that maybe got through and had great careers back in the day, I'm not sure would have great careers now.
Give me one.
But I think the way that football is now, there's a lot more emphasis on technical ability.
Well, like someone like Jamie Carragher, but why not making it?
Oh yeah, you're harsh. No, Carragher was a good player, a very good player.
No, but would he have made it in today's world?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that players wouldn't make it. I'm just saying, like I said, I think the high level player,
top championship.
Really?
Behave. The high level player back in the day is still a high level player today. I just think that the all round package of what players can do today is more than what they could do back in the day.
Talking about players from the previous generation, the man himself, Mr. Ballon d'Or, Michael Owen.
He's coming on soon.
Yeah. Top player. He said in his quote, now, if you can just run a bit further than everyone else and basically pass it from A to B, you're getting a decent career in the Premier League. You don't have to be that good anymore. Back in the day, you had to have real skill and attributes to be a top player.
I totally disagree with it. And this is like Michael Owen was, and I know I see Reed talking about it the other day, but Michael Owen was a phenomenon. I played with him a lot. Early in his career, he was he was unplayable at times.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
If we're talking about like attributes for being like top players and all that, he was rapid,
Pace.
super fast. When that went, he weren't the same player.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I think the level of player, whether you're bored watching games because you want to see open football and skills and stuff like that, I think just there's still that in the game, but it's a lot harder to reproduce. You don't get players that are diving in as much. You've got players that are staying on their feet for a little bit longer. Yeah, I disagree with the comment wholeheartedly, to be honest.
Wow, Mr. Jody Morris disagreeing again. Okay, before we get into the title race, we saw a whole lot of performances. Jody, looking at Liverpool being on top right about now, how impressed are you with them?
Yeah, I mean, you only got to look at what they've done results wise, and I know we touched on Slot a few weeks back. I'm so impressed with him. I like the way that he talks about the game. He's one of those managers, I think, that when you come in after a game and you kind of, when I watch it, what he's saying after the game resonates a lot with what I've seen. And you don't necessarily get that all the time.
He reads the game well, doesn't he?
With certain managers. But I'm sure that there'll be a few testing times to come, and I think that's when you'll see what the manager's made of and what that team and where it's currently at. Because they've had great spells before in the previous seasons and not managed to get over the line. So let's see.
It does feel a little bit different, though, innit? They do feel like compact. And obviously, you're talking about people having harder jobs beforehand. I'm not saying it's easy, but he already had like a base to deal with, innit?
Yeah, we spoke to Virgil van Dijk. If you haven't seen it, go on the channel and look at the interview. But he was explaining the simplicity and the only little minor tweaks that he's made. And you can see a difference with and without the ball and what he's asking of them. So you get a bit more information on if you're a Liverpool fan or interested, go and check out that interview. What are we saying about the title race then? Because I think before a ball was kicked, I was wholeheartedly going Arsenal. I thought Arsenal were going to win it. But the wheels, you going, yeah?
Yeah.
But the wheels seem to have like fallen off momentarily. I don't know how long it's going to last. But right now, I think I'm agreeing with Jody. Liverpool looks strong. City, obviously, the weekend lost. But City will be there at the end of the season. It's just if Liverpool can go blow for blow.
I still reckon it's City's to lose, if I'm honest. I think they've done it so many times. I think they got players when it gets near the business end of the season. It's like, right, let's do this. You know, the only player that this is going to be fresh to that is consistently playing is Savinha. Whereas with the Liverpool players, Gavin Birch is doing well now. I'm not saying he's going to be worse off later on, but it's still going to be new for him. It's going to be new for Gakpo. It's going to be new for all these people in the Prem anyway. So I reckon City, mate, they don't even really, they haven't even started that well.
I think they've been poor for their standards. And I agree with you, Joel. I don't know why anybody would overlook City at the moment because just of what's happened previously. The one thing I would say is Man City definitely look a lot more vulnerable this year. If you look at the amount of goals that they've conceded first already this year, I think it's like 6 games now that they've gone behind. That's quite a lot in considering it's like 9-10 Premier League games. But
they can turn that around.
And also the only thing that I wouldn't rule out your Arsenal's for is because we haven't seen this Liverpool side hit a blip yet. And I think how you react to that is pivotal to how well your title challenge will hold up, because some teams, when they start losing or they go on maybe a bit of a bad run or lose a couple of players,
like Arsenal,
then and Chelsea last year, to be fair, you can then see what they're made of. And at the moment, okay, Man City have got a few players out, a few pivotal players. Even they look struggling with that. But
I see Pep say that. We've got loads of players out and injured. I don't like the investment.
Rubbish. Like, honestly, when I hear words like that, I just think, are you having a laugh? You've got almost 3 teams.
Don't really get much sympathy, do they, from the rest of the
league? Hell no.
In fairness to Pep, if you look at, I think he mentioned it the other day, if you look at what Liverpool done 2 or 3 years ago when they had a couple of pivotal players out, they came nowhere near it. So it just shows you that even in the best teams, if you're missing some of your top players, it can still have a bit of an effect.
I think we need to just touch on this. I think Arsenal falling apart or the title race gone out of your grasp. How are you? Are you? I know. Where are you?
Are you saying it's gone?
I'm asking you. Are you saying that? I'm not saying that. I'm saying. Are you? Because the way you come all in black today.
Yeah, you look like you're conceding already.
Yeah, exactly. You crawled in. You didn't even walk in today. You crawled in.
It was a difficult weekend. I'm very disappointed.
Are you all right?
No, I'm not. Okay. Because I'm very disappointed. I mean, I spoke with you briefly. I'm very disappointed in
Arteta? Or?
No. That's
because he was Arteta. You know he was Arteta before.
You can't be.
No. Don't listen to Rio. That was back in the day. We've all said some things in life. But listen, I just think it's our fault. When you look at the red cards, when you look at not being able to hold leads against City, Liverpool, you look at Bournemouth, that's like 6-7 points there already. You know, like you turn that around and the table looks different. And I don't think we've got a squad that's as strong as Liverpool's or City's. I think they've got cover in areas that we don't. I think past our starting 12, it gets a little, starting 11, but then you got 12, let's just say, it gets a little bit shaky.
I've never really questioned his decision making up to this point. I think Arteta, but looking at the substitutions and the players he had available,
surprising.
I was surprised at some of the decisions he made this weekend.
Yeah.
Just even in the fullback area. Timber playing left back when you got Zinchenko on, playing Partey out of position in midfield and going right back. Like, you're just thinking, and we've seen him do it before and it's worked, I get it, but when you're down to the bare bones with injuries, you've got to I think you've got to look at it and play players that are available to you in their positions. But I think the biggest miss for me, and I didn't anticipate him being this important. I think he's a top player, and I think he's great, and I think he's pivotal to what Arsenal do. But I think he's probably gone down, and it will look like the most important player to be missed in this team, Odegaard, because other players you can bring in, a centre half can stop chances here and there, but when you're one of the hardest things to do in the game is score goals, and before that you've got to create the opportunities. He's almost like the tempo maker in the team. Yeah. He helps you retain the ball. Yeah. As well as, if not better than anybody else in your team. And then it's about that bit of magic at the end to create a chance. And I keep seeing people saying, it's a number 9. It's a number... You're not creating chances. You could have the best number 9 there, but you still ain't getting the ball to him. So
he's top 2. Like, I would say him and Saka are the most important players. I think if Saliba's not there, you still have Gabriel who can partner up with someone. You can put in Ben White to fill in or something. But I think when Odegaard's not there, bro, the creativity, there's no imagination.
Touching on Rio's point, I think that's where we were maybe surprised, is that you could have easily brought in Sterling to play one of the wider positions. Then you've got Trossard that can play in the 10. Like, and then you got Partey playing in his position. This is why the surprising element of what happened on Saturday is that you're chasing a game and bringing on 2 fullbacks and a holding midfielder when you're chasing a game at 1-0 and you're leaving people like Sterling on the bench.
Sterling must be scratching his head, bro.
Yeah, and also it's like, but that's what I'm saying is, I think it's early to rule you guys out of it. And I do believe that, well, you only need to look at Saturday and Man City drop points. Liverpool are surely going to have a spell, so I think it's early days to rule a team like Arsenal out, who have produced such good high level of football for the past 2 seasons. I think it's early to rule them out.
No, it is. I mean, there's still a chance, obviously, but we've just given ourselves a bigger task than we needed, and that's where I'm disappointed.
And you're right, because you don't want to lose.
I had faith in you guys. I did before balls kicked. I had faith in you guys.
I just want to say, you've been taking so many Arsenal shots. You men are 13th. Let's just put it out there.
I'm not taking no shots. I'm just spitting facts. We're 13th. I acknowledge that. We're way off it. Miles off it. But you, man, Arsenal fans, I have to say, it's like sometimes I think, wow, I don't know who you think you are. So entitled. You're an entitled group.
We're title challengers. That's what we are.
I see Troops the other day. I want Mikel Arteta out. These guys are crazy.
You have got like some of your questionable fans, to say the least.
It's mad. Just want to shout out Ola Aina. He used to work with you, didn't he?
Yeah, great kid.
At Nottingham Forest. Did you see his shout after the game?
He said his foot is still hot.
The fact that he went, I'm sending them man back to East London.
Send them back in.
But it's crazy, because we were talking before about this as well. We've all said these things. Finish a game and you're coming off, the cameras are on you, you walk in all stern, but you get in a changing room, you just start flipping, you start going, man, that man can't deal with us, they're rubbish. Go all the chat before the game. But you don't record it. Yeah. I never recorded stuff like that, right? Because I was always thinking, like Jody said, what about next week? Got a game next week. So I don't want any banana skins or a target on my back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. And listen, because I know Ola and he's a great kid.
He cracks me up.
And he is a personality. But yeah, when you're talking about sending teams back to where they come from and all that, you still got.
And it was West Ham as well, so I don't like that element.
But he doesn't always score in it. So I think that was.
Oh no, yeah. Listen, he can say about his foot being hot and all that. Yeah. But it's the sending them back. It's where you just got to be. There's that little line where you got to be careful, because.
Did you used to have a chat with him like that? Was there ever a time when he did the same thing?
Listen, I don't think you ever want to limit people's personality, because that's what makes them what they are. Yeah. Now, listen, there's elements of, if we're talking purely about Ola's probably played within himself his whole life at the minute, and that was one of the things that you say about Ola. Physically, he's an absolute specimen. Can play right foot, left foot. Lovely little footballer. He could probably impose himself on games a little bit better, and could probably stay in, like we was talking about, his concentration sometimes, because when you have what he has in his locker, you can impose yourself on games a little bit more. But as far as personality is going.
Unreal.
You wouldn't want to dampen that down, but you just sometimes go, could maybe just not have said that or put it out there. I don't know.
But he did an interview with a Ribena as well. He was sipping Ribena
personality.
I just, as a defender, I always think that I've got to be a little bit reserved, because next week the ball could just get shot and going off my back, and then the centre forward laughing at me.
You could come up against Torres or something, and they're like run you.
Vida. Right, and then, but if I was a forward, bro, that's me. Yeah. I would be on people. The centre half I'm playing against next week, I'm on him on social media Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
But even then, though, you still the same. What about the week after when you miss a sitter?
No, that's all right. You know what I mean? That's all right. But he can't say nothing to me. I've just hammered for a week.
I think. Listen, the game's changed and what you can say now. But Rio's right. It is still the stuff that has been happening for years and years. It's just that. Now that when you're able to put it out there for everyone to see.
Who was you always going like you was delighted in a change, you come in and change, and when you go mad, but we never see it, we'd never know.
What, as in like character?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Poyet was a very big, huge character. I don't know if it came across as much on the pitch, but he was always up to saying.
You've had a good weekend, by the way, Jody. All your boys that you've coached. Excellent weekends.
Do you
Livramento, Hall.
Do you sit there like a proud uncle?
Yeah.
Just like chilling with your cigar.
Listen, I always want people that you have an affinity with or had relationships with, or obviously I coached a load of the boys. But I'm delighted to see them do well. Solanke's finish yesterday is absolutely outstanding. Gurhey and Chiloba at Palace.
Hall and Livramento.
I mean, I didn't really coach Lewis Hall that much, but he was in and around us a bit. But listen, I'm delighted when I see him playing. I just wish they was doing it with a Chelsea shirt on.
Do you like sit there when you're in the pub with your mates and say like another one I made there?
Yeah,
little pat on the back like that.
But it's like what we're saying. It's maybe sometimes if you're in the pub with your mates, but I wouldn't record it and stick it out there. Do you know what I mean? No, but like I said, on a serious note, I'm delighted when I see any boys that I've worked with, or like I said, don't have to be Chelsea Academy boys either. I'll still get a buzz when anyone you've worked with or former teammates are doing well.
Well, guys, thank you very much, Jody, for joining us on Rio Ferdinand Presents. Really good insight. I didn't agree with all of it, but some really, really top insight.
That's what football's about, isn't it?
Yeah. And yourself, Rio, thank you very much.
Just don't come in black no more, man. I don't like it. It's not a good vibe.
Honestly, man, it's been a rough weekend. It's been rough. But thank you very much for watching Rio Ferdinand Presents. Like Rio said, there's loads of interviews for you guys to watch on the channel. Virgil van Dijk, obviously last week's episode with Patrice. What else have you done? Rio, you're just doing
Bex, Cristiano. We've got more coming though. We've got a few more dropping. We've got Jorginho. The Jorginho interviews coming in a couple of weeks.
Is that coming too?
Edwin van der Sar.
Van der Sar as well?
Vidic and Berbatov. Yeah, good man. Some good stuff.
So guys, please make sure that you're subscribing, liking, watching. Check out our socials. And we will be back soon. Peace.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Rio Presents. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be here every Monday throughout the season, so tell your mates and all get involved, man. If you've got a point you think we should be discussing or want to put us on the spot with a question you want answering, get in touch using the fans first at rioferdinandpresents.com email address or use hashtag RFP on social. Make sure you leave us a review and follow this Rio Ferdinand Presents feed and you'll never miss an episode. See ya on the next one.